Sergio Perez, a well-known champ, was almost without a Formula One seat at the end of the 2020 season, but after some years, Red Bull offered him a contract. Well, the question is, how Sergio Perez got this massive contract? Definitely his success and hard work paid off. In this video, we are going to cover the whole Formula One success history of Sergio Perez. Before moving ahead, subscribe to our channel and let's get straight into it. Perez, who was nicknamed the Minister of Defense for keeping rivals at bay, has helped the team with the Constructors' Championship in 2022, while teammate Max Verstappen has won 2 titles in a row. Perez won the renowned Monaco Grand Prix during the campaign. He became the Mexican driver with the most victories in the sport's history thanks to the victory. This season, Perez is having his best excursion yet. He has won 2 of the time's 4 races up until this point and completed second at the Bahrain Fantastic Prix. Perez won't be able to enjoy the glory for long. My mood is great. It's been going all around well up until this point, so I'm cheerful. Perez told USA Today Sports for the benefit of ExxonMobil, the authority innovation accomplice of Red Bull dashing. However, I am also aware that we must be extremely focused, and the objective is to win this weekend. Perez gets the question that has always surfaced during his 3 years working with Verstappen after being asked about the team's strong start. However, naturally, you are also a fighter who wants to win. Which one of these areas do you still need to work on the most to try to beat Max and get closer to him? Perez returns optimistically. He states, "The best I could do today is to finish second. It's a long season. Every session, I think I'm getting closer. I think." Driving alongside Verstappen, who is now aiming for his 3rd consecutive championship, is not an easy thing to do in a sport where your teammate often doubles as your main rival. The obstacle has ended the careers of many potential drivers. However, Perez brings more to the role than just talent. He accompanies insight. His career is full of ups and downs. He gave up everything when he was young and moved to Mexico with everything he knew. He fought his way to Formula One, but his dream of racing for a top team came to an end after just 1 year. He has had contracts ended, gotten tangled in fights in court, and lost a very much procured put on the matrix. Everything shaped a psychological strength that, in any event, approaching the end phases of his time in F1, has set him up to assume a part where no one has yet succeeded. He will not settle for second place and will give it nothing less than 100%. This weekend is the Miami Stupendous Prix. Perez said he's staying focused on each stage of the process, from qualifying to race day, despite finishing 4th in the inaugural race the year before. Perez finds Miami to be special because of its large Latino population. 72% of the population in Miami-Dade County is made up of nearly 2 million people who identify as Hispanic or Latino. Reggaeton and cafecito are as much a part of the culture as neon lights and palm trees. Perez stated, "I love the Latin community here. I truly feel like I'm in Mexico. I have such countless companions. The weather conditions are perfect and it's perfect to do practice outside. So I truly appreciate it." Sergio Perez left his home in Guadalajara, Mexico at the age of 14, packed a bag, and took a one-way flight to Germany to pursue his dream of driving in Formula One. Perez, also known as Checo, grew up observing the majority of Mexican drivers competing in IndyCar. However, after he had a successful go-karting career, he decided to pursue F1 because of the exotic nature of the series. That required a move to Europe. It was a difficult choice to make, even though he had financial support from Escuderia Telmex, a racing program for Mexican drivers supported by telecom mogul Carlos Slim. Perez stated to The Athletic, "It was really big to leave everything behind as a 14-year-old. It was huge to set out and fight for your dreams. At the time, it was quite shocking." His most memorable taste of Europe had none of the lure we partner with F1. He lived above a restaurant that belonged to the manager of the team he raced for in the entry-level single-seater Formula BMW series in Germany. It was a huge cultural shock. Nostalgia was the greatest test, and he invested a ton of energy alone. He spoke very little English and no German at all. Dashing became auxiliary, he said. Mostly, it was about staying alive. Perez got his big break in 2012. During his sophomore season, when 3 podium finishes for Sauber's midfield team caught the attention of the best drivers in Formula One. The British team chose Perez to replace Lewis Hamilton when he left McLaren for Mercedes. His arrival coincided with the beginning of McLaren's decline from leading the pack. Perez had difficulty adapting. Perez rediscovered his form once more in the midfield. He established himself as a leader in the middle of the field, frequently acting as the driver who took advantage of mistakes made by the front runners. As a result of mounting debts, Force India entered administration, which is similar to bankruptcy. Perez owed money from the previous year and was one of its creditors. It was his choice to pull the trigger on lawful activity in a transition to assist with saving the group. He stated, "I ended up doing things that were much beyond being a racing driver. To find myself in that position was unpleasant." Perez, then in his 30s, accepted the possibility that his F1 career might end. He continued, "I'd been in those midfield battles for so many years. To me, the most important thing was to get a chance where I could really give it my all, because otherwise, it wasn't really worth it." Perez's best F1 season to date, 2020, included a wild win in Bahrain that saw him go from last place at the start to first at the finish line. Despite the uncertain future, he won his first F1 race. Red Bull was debating who to pair with Verstappen in 2021 at the same time. His teammate Alex Albon simply was not performing to the same level. Albon had taken over for Pierre Gasly, who had only won 12 races before being traded out in the middle of the season. Gasly followed Red Bull's Daniel Ricciardo, who left for Renault in 2018 due, in part, to his belief that the team put Verstappen, its generational talent, first. In the past, Red Bull had favored young drivers from its junior team. Toro Rosso. It would be a huge departure from tradition to hire a 30-year-old who had worked all over the grid. However, the team called Perez in December 2020. Red Bull puts its confidence in Verstappen since the beginning. He was promoted from Toro Rosso to its senior team just 4 races into his second season, making him F1's youngest driver in 2015. After Ricciardo, the team made the car more and more like Verstappen's driving style, giving him a pointy front end and an unstable back end that he could handle. It was one of Gasly and Albon's biggest challenges. In his most memorable season with Red Bull, Perez scored a modest bunch of platform and a success in Baku, yet battled to tame a vehicle made for Verstappen. He beat his colleague in qualifying just once the entire season and scored half as many focuses. An especially low second came at SPA, one he turned out in a downpour behind the well-being vehicle, which keeps everybody moving gradually. Perez took advantage of Formula One's earliest finish since 2010 to return to Mexico, spend as much time as possible with his family, and recharge for 2023 after the tension. He claims that during his time with Red Bull, he has never felt as prepared as this year. "I'm in a decent spot now," he said. Perez and his team have a sense of security and comprehension that can only develop over time. According to Horner, Checo, with that experience, he's been through some of the hard knocks with his career. He has provided us with a well-rounded individual. He works well as a team player. However, that team player also wants his own success. Perez partook in his best season to date in F1 last year, taking third in the title with 2 successes and 9 further platform. He may be the only driver who has a real chance of beating Verstappen given Red Bull's strong start to the year. Perez is still driven by the desire to win. Right now in his profession and life, anything less just wouldn't cut it. "With Red Bull, I have a fantastic project," he stated. "I want to be here for that very reason. If I didn't have the car to fight for, I wouldn't be here today." So, what are your thoughts regarding this video? Do share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time!